and we are a husband and wife team, and we're in two different countries today for the next couple of months or few months because our daughter is pregnant, and I'm with her in England, and Brett is in Florida with our three dogs. This channel is not about diets. It is about finding a nutritional lifestyle that helps you fulfill your goals and to overcome mindless and overeating, which we have.
And
We
emotional
share
eating.
and emotional
Sorry.
eating.
Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, no, that's fine. We share our individual mindful eating journeys from an intuitive eater, low carb, high protein, um
High fat.
high fat intuitive eater, and
Calorie counter,
yeah.
typically low fat, but all the carbs, just calories is what I count.
Yeah. And I've been eating this way for about 2 years. And Brett, how have you been eating for about the last
Well, the
couple of
calorie
years?
counting has been on and off for more than 4 years now,
Yeah.
but since mindful eating, it's been maybe about a year, and I'm down 45 pounds in the last year and keeping it off this time because of the mindful eating approach as opposed to just calorie counting without addressing what's going on underneath emotionally and things like that.
Yeah, and I've lost about 20 pounds and I am not tracking calories. And this has been in the last couple of years. But we are going to talk about, we recently did our lab work.
Yeah,
And so we want to share the results of our lab work. I hadn't done my lab work or really checked about the nutritional aspect of my blood work. But this time I was like, we're doing this. I want to make sure I look at my blood work, at my lab work, and see what it says. So you did your lab work in December, but we didn't compare results. And
right.
I did my lab work this past month, and now we are comparing results. So I said, I'm gonna share about my lab work. You said I did my lab work. So I'm like, all right, let's go over and just see where we stand based on the different ways that we eat. So,
You
but
know,
before Mhm,
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say what's funny is that even though I did my lab work in December, I didn't
mhm.
make any changes based on that. Only now that you did yours and I'm re-looking at my lab work, now I'm like, I could make a couple tweaks to try to improve these numbers.
Hi, guys. Welcome. Welcome. We are sharing our lab work today about the results based on the way we've been eating. So, I am a mindful eater, intuitive, high protein, low carb, high fat. Brett is a processed junky food eater, and he tracks
But
his
I count
calories to be
calories.
mindful. And so I went over my lab work, and we're about to share. But before we do that, we share how our mindful eating week went. And this past week, I've been sticking to 2 meals a day. I fast 4 hours in between my meals, which is very difficult to do if you don't allow yourself about 4 hour window without eating. That can be hard because we tend to snack all the time. And then I intuitively fast about 12 to 16 hours, 12 to 14 hours each night. I do that intuitively. And then I have my first meal around brunch time. So
I'll just share. Oh, yeah, sorry. Go
I've
ahead.
been sticking to that for the last week. So I've been doing well with that. Now, this past week, there was 2 pound jump on my weight, and we're about to tell you why based on my lab work. But I have been on the same consistent weight week after week. We weigh ourselves every week and share our weight on our community, our Facebook community, private Facebook group. If you're interested on that, the information is below. But my week has been great. How about you? How's your week been, Brett, since you've been
It's
alone for what, 3, 4 weeks?
no, it's 2.5 weeks
Two and
now.
a half weeks. It feels
Um,
longer.
it does. So when you first left, I started going to all my favorite food spots, and my weight creeped up a little bit.
Thank you,
Um,
Millie, for liking the video. We really appreciate it. Like the video if you're interested in mindful eating. Yes,
Thank
thank
you. Yeah,
you.
we appreciate it. So my weight did creep up, but I kept up my all my workouts, and I still, for the most part, did keep my calories in check. And so this past week, I kind of calmed down on the junk
Mhm.
food and my weight dropped dramatically. I lost like 5 pounds in the week. So that was pretty significant. It's today it's back up maybe a pound or two because 5 pounds is kind of a lot to drop. So I think it's a little more normalized. But again, for the most part, I even skipped a meal one day just because I wasn't feeling hungry, and that's not typical to me. So I'm starting to listen to my body more. I'm definitely also eating a little bit less of the junky food and listening to my body when it wants things like fruit or more protein as opposed to the carbs and the sugary stuff that I'm used to trying to cram as many of my calories in a day at. So it's been good. The week has been good.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's jump right into the video. So I eat whole single ingredient meals. Brett eats all kinds of processed foods, and yet me needed more work, which is crazy. However, I feel the best. So
You mean
what
your blood
was
work needs you to
my
make more changes than
my
mine did?
blood work
Yeah.
requires more changes. Now, I could freak out, and my doctor suggested some conventional medicine. And I said, nope, I don't want conventional medicine. I am going to try alternative, holistic changes and lifestyle changes. So,
Fixing it
what
with diet.
was?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna go through where we are, the main blood marks, or the main markers. So we're gonna go right to the LDL. My LDL. So generally, an LDL can be about 200. Mine was 203, just 3 points higher. My LDL, sorry, cholesterol was
Overall.
203, right. So it was 3 points higher. There's three markers in the cholesterol. My LDL was slightly higher, just a tiny bit. So she said, there is something that you can do to just keep an eye on it. She said to add more greens, to add apples, to add some berries and maybe some sweet potatoes. So, and she also suggested cutting back on caffeine. If you don't know, caffeine can also increase your cholesterol for
Oh,
some people.
I didn't
So
know that.
I didn't know that either. So I bumped some green immediately as soon as she told me that. I increased some greens. I was having some apples instead for my breakfast, along with my protein. I added some berries and sweet potatoes, kind of like a dessert. So I did that. Brett, how's your cholesterol with all the processed foods that you eat?
Yeah, I think it's right on like the borderline. Maybe it's just slightly high now that I relooked at the numbers today, but the doctor didn't say I had a concern in December. But I think my LDL is supposed to be at 100 or less, and I think it's at 110.
Mhm.
And my HDL, we're not quite there yet. It's supposed to be 130 or less, and I think I'm at 133. So
Mhm.
when the doctor was like, I'm not concerned, I didn't look at it. But now that I re-looked at it today, because we're comparing, I've already started to make some changes today to try to lower my overall cholesterol. So I started adding nuts like
Mhm.
pistachios
Mhm.
to my calorie intake for the day. Everything is calorie balanced. So I started adding in nuts today. I also added a BAI antioxidant drink. So I'm starting
Yeah,
to look at. Go ahead.
Rohan, yes, we are husband and wife, but we're in two different countries because our daughter lives in England. We live in Florida, and we are our daughter is about to give birth. So we are doing our weekly life that we would normally do at home together. We're doing it from different countries, but we have two different channels. So he's actually calling in from the second channel. So yes, we are related. Thank you for asking. So yeah, go ahead, Brett.
It's okay. Yeah, so I've added an antioxidant drink. I've added in some nuts. And I think, oh, and I'm starting to add fiber through a psyllium husk supplement. So those are
Yes.
the three things I'm already changing just to try to see if I can address the cholesterol a little. I'm already working out a lot. And I'm already losing weight. So those are the other two main things for cholesterol that I've already been doing.
Yes. So one of the things that the doctor said, because I see a holistic doctor, whereas Brett sees a regular doctor. The holistic doctor said that fiber helps to basically clean out your pipes, and she suggested psyllium husk. Now we have used psyllium husk has many very many benefits, including anti-inflammatory. And we used to buy the powder psyllium husk, and we would mix it with milk, and I would have it like a drink at night. But I just got tired of drinking that milk. So I decided to get the psyllium husk capsule. And as soon as the holistic doctor told me, I started to take that psyllium husk capsule. And now, Brett, you're taking that too, which is great. And that's going to help clean out our pipes and get rid of any bad cholesterol. That is the fiber that we want. Nothing starchy, but a good, nice, healthy fiber to get rid of the bad cholesterol from our body. So, my second marker that was a little low was the uric acid. And this is interesting because it says that I would need more protein or better nutrient absorption. Now I'm eating a ton of protein a day. So I know that what I need is better nutrient absorption. So what I'm doing to combat that is fiber and antioxidants, and the antioxidants from berries, from healthy fruits is going to help me process my protein better. I could look into doing maybe an antioxidant capsule or an enzyme. I might consider an enzyme actually, because I have done enzymes for digestion in the
Mhm.
past. I might consider going back into an enzymes, but basically, um, I know I don't need more protein because I'm eating a ton of protein. What I do need is better absorption, and the fiber is going to help with that. You didn't measure your uric acid. I didn't see
Oh,
it on your blood work, so we didn't. I didn't put you, or I didn't talk about that on the notes.
I
But
might have
my
had a different lab with that. I'll have to see.
right, I think you do different labs because you're a man and I'm a woman. So I think
No, I mean, I may have
mine's.
had a different report, so I
Oh,
don't know.
I
Maybe we
see.
can come back and
Maybe we can come back. Okay, so my A1C, my NY1C was strong and steady. So the A1C looks good on me.
because you
And
don't eat much sugar or carby stuff like I do.
right, so A1C should be below 5.7. It should not be anything, what it says, between 5.7 to 6.5 is pre-diabetes. Anything higher than 6.5 is diabetes. So what can the A1C reflect? Okay, A1C, it can be uncontrolled blood sugar like in diabetes. It could be certain medications, too many sugary or starchy foods. So when we're adding the starchy vegetables, or the fibers, I am not adding starchy vegetables. It says health conditions can affect red blood cells. A low A1C could be someone that has hypoglycemia. It could be too strict of a dieting, over medicating, sometimes lab errors, conditions that shorten the red blood cell life. Some supplements or medication can also interfere with that, especially the people that are taking the shots for
Like Ozempic or
weight
those things.
loss. Exactly. That could cause to be hypoglycemic. So you have to work with your doctor. But so mine came back normal, but like you said, Brett, but I do have some processed foods and I do have some desserts, but my A1C levels were good. So now you
Let's
tell
talk about
me
my A1C.
about
Yeah.
your A1C.
So my A1C came right in at the border, 5.7.
Mm,
So um, I guess I'm taking that as a positive because I eat a ton of sugar,
yeah.
a ton of
You do eat a
processed
lot of
sugar.
sugar.
I
Yeah.
mean, every day, if I look at my calorie counting app, I'm probably having 4 cookies a day and more than 4 little pieces of chocolate a day, and sometimes even more sweets on top of that. So I do really consume a lot of sugar
Hmm.
and carbs and that kind of stuff. So in that sense, only being at 5.7 is great. I'm not like pre-diabetic or anything else.
Right.
But at the same time, it's kind of a warning to me to take it easy and don't go overboard with, I like to eat donuts and ice cream and all these
Yeah.
other
So
things.
I think, like you said, I think earlier when I told you about my A1C, I don't eat a lot of carbs, a lot of sweets as much as you do. You do eat a lot, but you work out a lot. So
Yeah.
I think that's why yours is good, even though you eat a ton of sweets and a ton of.
I think I was saying to you earlier today that the best thing I can do or that I have done for all of my numbers is
Hmm.
the amount of working out I'm doing and the amount of weight I lost.
Right.
So losing 45 pounds in the last year, and maybe I was going to the gym once a week before. Now I'm probably, some days I'm going 7 days a week, but for the most part, I'm probably going at least 5 days a week. Not because I have to either. I've come to love it. It helps my mental, state as well as my physical state. It even helps my pain, because I'm keeping everything like loose and warm as opposed to being super tight and restricted and things like that. So yeah, so I think my numbers are better than they would have been because of the amount of weight I've lost and the amount of time I'm spending in the gym.
Yeah, that's really good. So I think if you are going to eat sweets, then make sure you work out a lot. I think, I mean, if you're going to eat a ton of sweets, I should say, because I eat some sweets and I don't work out the way bread does, but I don't work out the way bread does because I'm older and my cortisol and the hormones.
That's older than me.
No, but the thing is, for a woman body, the thyroid and the
Yeah.
hormonal changes that take place, my body is just too stressed. And I have been suggested to do low intensive
Oh,
workouts.
right.
And the Stairmaster and all that stuff is very stressful for my body. So
That's
I don't
true.
do
It
that.
does the opposite for me. I'm a very calm person, and I think it helps my
You
body to
need
hit
it.
those
Yeah, right.
stress
You need it.
levels.
But I'm constantly on the go. So I need stuffs that is going to. So with that, my cortisol level actually were a little bit low in the morning, but then they jump up really high. And the highs and lows, the extreme highs and lows was being caused by caffeine. I was drinking the caffeine and then crashing and then drinking the caffeine and crashing. So my holistic doctor suggested that I should swap, the caffeine. And she suggested iodine, which is interesting because she said I was low in iron and that would help me to increase some of the energy. And she said, decrease the caffeine. I said, I'm not going to cut all caffeine. I drink a mushroom coffee, but I will drop the Lavazza delicious espresso and Bustelo coffee that I drink. I was drinking the Lavazza cups, 3 to 5 times a day. And then when I'm here at Bustelo, I'm having 2 to 3 cups of those on top of my mushroom coffee. So I cut that espresso coffee out. And so I don't really like the way that I feel in that I'm not in a high all the time, but I do like that I am alert and awake and just not super hyper. So I don't mind the change, but I do need a little bit of adjustment. So it's going to take me a little bit time to get used to it. Now, you didn't get the cortisol measure because for me, that was measured because of the fact of my age and that I'm a woman and in the premenopausal state. So that didn't get measured for you. But what about you and your kidney? You did get some thyroid work. So,
Yeah, so again, I think these numbers, at least the liver, I think is showing improvement from
mhm,
probably a year ago when I
mhm,
did the test, because when I was overweight before, I was told by the doctor I had a fatty liver. And I
mhm.
think that number has come down from me losing weight again, being in the gym. So my liver wasn't in great shape, not from over drinking. Like I wasn't a huge drinker when I was younger.
No.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I don't know
what.
why.
Maybe just somewhat from being overweight, and maybe um, back in my early 30s when I took a lot of supplements for working out. I think I was making my liver work hard or whatever it is. But um, anyway, so yeah,
I
overall kidney, liver, thyroid is good. Go ahead.
I wanna say that when you had that issue with the liver, I remember we found a natural remedy, and we did that natural remedy for a while, and I don't know if you remember.
Milk thistle or something like that. I think it's
No,
called. Oh,
we
not
did the blueberries with the whole lemon and the peel, and we did when and stevia, and you were drinking that for a time. You don't remember that? When we used to blend that in the Vitamix blender, we did that for a time. As a matter of fact,
I would drink what you gave me, but I don't remember it.
yeah, I remember suggesting that to one of my clients, and that also helped
Hmm,
her.
interesting.
Um, So my vitamin D levels were high actually, and it turns out that
That's
I
wild because
am.
mine were low until I started doing this.
Yeah, so she told me to decrease the vitamin D for 2 weeks and then I can start and decrease half. Now, I only have, because I'm over here, I only have one capsule. I could purchase more or I can do every other day. I would have to ask her, but I'm taking my vitamin D from my nighttime capsule, my nighttime supplement routine, and I'm just going to. She also did say that I can detox with some fiber rich foods. So, the fiber and the antioxidant, she says, have multi benefits,
Yeah.
including that. So I'm doing that. And you said your
I think
vitamin
that's a
D levels?
theme that you and
Mhm,
I are
that is a
discovering
theme.
is that there's a few things that we can do that are simple that will help all
Mhm.
areas of our health. And one is
Yeah.
antioxidants and
Hmm.
one is fiber. Just those are two of the things that we're learning that address so many of these numbers in our blood work.
Yeah. So ferritin, which is is what stores your energy and for brain clarity, it says that I am a little bit low on that. And she suggested to eat some iron-rich foods, such as greens. She said leafy greens, um, grass-feed be- grass-feed beef, which we do now at
We do that.
home. I do grass-feed beef here
That's
in
fed
England.
beef.
I don't know. I haven't paid attention to what kind of beef I'm eating, if it's
Fed.
grass fed beef. Sorry. So she said, and also vitamin C. I am not taking vitamin C, and I should get some vitamin C, but also decreasing my caffeine, she suggested that can help with that. So you were not measure of ferritin, and I'm curious as to what that might be. So next time you do your blood work, I want to make sure that they, requested.
Mm,
But tell me about, you did get measure for your urine and your PSA, your prostate specific antigen. So tell me
yeah.
about that.
Yeah. So the number came back good. I do have too too much information here. I do have an
No,
enlarged
let's share
prostate.
it because
Yeah.
men need
Yeah,
to
a lot
hear
of guys.
this.
I'm
Yeah.
52 years old. I have
Yeah.
an enlarged prostate. In fact, so enlarged that the doctor said it's more like an 80-year-old's prostate rather than a 50-year-old's prostate.
Yeah.
So I'm dealing with certain issues related to that, but thankfully the numbers show that it's not cancerous or anything like that. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing more serious in the prostate that it is just enlarged right now. So thankfully those numbers came back, and in full transparency, I am on a couple
Yeah.
prescription medications specifically for the prostate. Um,
Yeah.
because I do have to consider potentially in the next year a surgery of some type to clear a pathway between my bladder
Yeah.
and my output.
So I don't want to say I told you so because it might not have been, but psyllium husk is very anti-inflammatory. And 15 years ago, I told you take psyllium husk on a daily basis. Now I don't want to say I told you so, but
She
I do
loves to
want to
say I told you
say.
so by saying I don't want to tell you I told you so.
But I do want to say that this would be one area where you can help to take a medicine unless you go through surgery, and I know you're delaying the surgery. So for that, we understand. I mean, I understand. Like sometimes you have to take medicine, but if you can go without, then try to go without. Right? I was recommended to maybe take something for the hormones, and I said no, absolutely not. I am going to try lifestyle changes and natural remedies before I go to any kind of medication. And that's what I am doing. So I don't have a prostate. So that wasn't something I was tested for. But for my age, something that can be concerning is the thyroid. And that was slightly high. And that was. Oh, sorry, I confused the iodine, but that's what she gave me the iodine supplement for. It's going to support my iron and my selenium. And ever since I started to take it, she said the iodine is going to give you, good energy in the morning where you're going to wake up not so groggy and you won't necessarily need that caffeine. And ever since I started to take that iodine, I usually have my mushroom coffee, which has one third of an espresso caffeine, I haven't needed that for a couple of hours into the morning, which is really good. I hear a lot of people talk about having your coffee a couple of hours later. I've been able to do that ever since I started taking the iodine supplement. And that's only been since Friday. I started Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So less, about 5 days. So iodine definitely does help with the energy in the morning. What about you, Brett, your thyroid?
Everything was within range. So I think for the most part, again, the healthy weight and the plenty of exercise, those are two things that I'm doing that again have an overall effect on all of my numbers. So yeah, thyroid, there's no issue. Again, I think that's typically more an issue with women than men.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
haven't
Yeah.
had to experience anything wrong with that.
Yeah, so those are the main blood markers that we wanted to discuss today. Everything else looked good. This is only where we needed to have help. And I only wanted to compare yours, even though yours are better than mine, because you eat what I consider crappy foods, which there's no crappy foods, I should say. All food is good food. It's just we need to handle them in moderation. But what I used to consider crappy foods, and look how great it is. So many people bash and put down processed foods and fast food and all that, but you're having that in moderation and you have great blood marker and you've lost twice as much weight as I have lost.
Thank you, honey.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you're making a great point about this channel and mindful eating. It's that it's an individual journey. Every person is different.
Yeah.
Your body is much more sensitive to the food you put in it than I am. So
Yeah.
your blood markers may also be a bit more sensitive to the types of foods and the types of things that go in your body. Whereas my body just tends to be much more tolerant to the
Yeah.
foods and the things I do to it, including sugars and stuff like that. I don't think you know diabetes is something that's really plagued my close family or anything like that. Even though you and I don't agree, we don't want to call things on us from generations and stuff like that. But yeah, so I think for the most part, the number one thing for me is the diet and the exercise is something I have to do more rigidly than you. So you're not having to do that. You're having to look at little tweaks. But for me, I think having to exercise a lot and to lose the weight is something I had to focus on more for
Hmm.
my health.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I am looking forward to the next lab work that we do after the changes that
Yeah.
we have done and see what that looks like. But I love that we have this starting point for us. We've never really taken care of ourselves in this way. And so I actually love that we are doing this. And so what have we learned? We've learned basically that our bodies are speaking to us, and our lab
Mhm.
work just help us to see what it is that our bodies is saying. And so we're learning to listen to it, but we're not going to react in fear. When we get the blood work, we're just going to look at it, okay, and ask the doctor, how can we handle this in a natural way? If your doctor is opposed to supplements or to natural remedies or to lifestyle changes, you probably want to change your doctor. I don't think necessarily that you want to see a doctor that is only willing to give you medication with side effects with no healthy alternatives. You
Agreed.
really, that should be a red flag. I think it should be a red flag. I'm not saying you don't will never need or should never need medication. Brett is taking medication. If I have a headache, I take medication. If I'm sick, I go to the doctor, I get antibiotics and all that stuff. That's not at all what I'm talking about. But what I am saying is that I know people that will go to the doctor, and in my family, as a matter of fact, they'll go to the doctor and they'll talk about a natural remedy and the doctor will totally put it down. And that's not necessarily, I don't necessarily agree with that personally.
Right.
So that's one of the things we've learned. And so, we don't need to be perfect. Okay. Our lab results are not labels. We don't need a perfect lifestyle. Brett does not have the perfect lifestyle according to the health nuts out there, right? our labs are just invitations for better stewardship of our body, so that we can eat with purpose, so that we can make progress in our eating every single day. Bread wasn't even considering going through your lab work and making any
Right.
kind of changes, so we're making one day choice, one day, one choice, one bite at a time.
I like that.
Yeah. So just want to remind you that the numbers on your labs, they don't define you. They are refining us. Okay. And by God's grace, we're going to walk in wisdom. We're not going to fear, no fads. We're just learning to steward our temples, and healing flows from within, walking with God and asking Him how He created each and every single one of us individually, and with likes and dislikes and all that stuff, and how you want to eat. I used to try to want to eat the bread the way bread eats. Bread would just tell me, just feed me whatever it is you're eating so I don't have to take care of myself. But that did not work for us in the end. So,
Yeah.
have you had your lab work done? We would love to know if you've done your lab work. How do you react when you see your lab work? Do you take any medication? Has your doctor recommended any natural remedies? Uh, have you considered looking at your lab work and addressing it from a holistic perspective? So let us know. Let us know, and let us know if you have any questions. And again, we're not here to tell you what to eat. We're here to encourage you and to do so mindfully. But before we go, we just want to let you know that we have a second channel. It's called Influence for Purpose, and we're there every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. We're
Not
currently
every
praying.
morning. Sorry, every Friday.
Sorry, every Friday morning. Thank you. We are there at 7 a.m. in the morning, and generally we are together, but because we are in different countries, we're going to be doing it live, and we're going to do it bilingual. Brett is going to do it in English. I'm going to do it in Spanish. I'm going to be calling in from Influencia para Propósito. Brett is going to be responding from at Influence for Purpose. That's where our second channel is. If you struggle with mental health, addiction, or anything else, we're there to pray for courage, strength, and peace through 2025. And so join us there so we can live with faith filled intention in God, His word, and His ways. One last thing. We are fasting the 25th of every month. That's quickly approaching. I think that is, I'm looking at the calendar, that is next Friday. Not this Friday, next Friday. We're fasting. And for us, it's to overcome food
Food.
addiction. If you think you cannot live without food, try fasting. And if you think you can fast, think again, because you don't have to fast on zero food. Try fasting from chewing. Just remove all solid foods, anything you can chew, and do broths and do shakes and see how you do with that. And if you're watching and you're like, oh, that's nothing, I can do that, then go ahead and fast and just have one meal, or maybe just fast on water. But for Brett and I, because we are overcoming what we feel was truly food addiction, we fast solid foods. We do no chewing, and we have maybe shakes and liquids, and we try to be mindful to not just, oh, we can have shakes and we can have drinks, so we're just going to have a ton of them. No, we take that time to really address why we're eating, what we're eating, when we're eating, and seeking God to help us overcome these desires and truly let Him be our source of satisfaction. So
And when
um
Brenda says shakes, she's not talking about milkshakes. She means like a smoothie or something like that.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like a healthy smoothie, maybe a little
Not an
protein.
ice cream milkshake.
Yeah, not an ice cream milkshake. Yeah, a healthy shake. Yeah. So, is there anything else you have, Brett?
No, I think this was good. Again, I'm happy that we did this because I started making changes today based on my blood work, and I hadn't considered it before. So
Hmm.
happy for this mindful eating journey and how it continues to evolve. And we don't know where it's going to take us because as we get older and we have changes, our we may change the way we're eating and the things we're eating. So I'm excited
Exactly.
for it.
I'm excited for it too. Yep. So, anyways, all right. So, this is it for today. We look forward to seeing you next week for our next update. If you have any question, please feel free to reach us. All the information will be linked down
So
below.
there is one more thing. Then I would definitely want to end us with a prayer before we hang up,
Oh,
and for
yes. Thank you
everyone
so much,
on the
Brett.
line.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to build this community of like-minded people who are interested in
Mm.
having a mindful eating approach for a healthier lifestyle. This is not a one-size-fits-all. We're not talking about diet or restrictions. God, we're praying for wisdom. We're praying for clarity. We're praying for you to strengthen us and encourage us and help us for those who are struggling with food addiction or mindless eating or overeating or any kind of uh, poor habits in our nutrition that are hurting our bodies. We want to be the best versions of ourselves, and we need you, God, for that wisdom and that help and that strength, so that we can make changes in our lifestyle that are sustainable, that we want, that we're still eating things that we enjoy and we love, but that are helping our nourish our body and help restore our body to better health in our blood work as well as our mental health and physical health. We just thank you that you continue to take us along this journey and give us wisdom. And we pray all this in your precious name, God. In Jesus'
Amen.
name, amen.
Thank you. Amen. Thank you,
And,
Brett.
all
All right.
right.
I love you,
Love
honey.
you
I love
too.
you guys. Have a good night.
Oh,
Bye.
you're fine.